Hello, I'm Becky Goldsmith with Piece of Cake. I want to show you a very simple knot to put in your thread to begin stitching. First, I want to talk to you about where the knot goes. Now, I already have my needle on the thread. For many years, Linda and I believed that it made a difference which end of this thread would get the knot. That used to be true, but threads have improved now to the point that with a good quality cotton thread, it really makes no difference which end of this thread gets the knot. It just doesn't matter. So I can cut this, and either end, I can knot either end of the thread. That said, there is something you need to know about when you sew. When you sew, your fingers do this. That adds a twist to the needle that is transferred to the thread. Now, I'm right-handed, and for the threads I use, when I make this motion, I'm over-twisting the thread. When you over-twist the thread, it sort of spirals around itself, but it doesn't unwind. So all you have to do is every now and then maybe dangle your needle and let it unwind. The only time this is a problem, this motion, is if you're left-handed. So a left-hander doing this has the opposite effect on the thread than a right-hander making the same motion. So if you are left-handed doing this and you find that you're having trouble with your thread fraying and knotting, it's probably how you're handling the needle. As you do this, you're making the thread untwist rather than over-twist. And untwisting is where the problem lies. So if you find yourself having trouble with your sewing, with your thread knotting and breaking, look to how you're handling the needle in your hand, and try not to overdo the twisting motion that you add to the needle. All right, here is a really dandy knot. I'm going to zoom in so you can see it more clearly. I'm going to take the end of thread that gets the knot. Bring the end of the thread up, let it meet the end of the needle, and then slide the thread down the length of the needle and grab it. You don't need a huge tail of thread beyond the needle. Something like 3/8 of an inch is what I usually use. You're going to wrap the thread around the needle 4 times because this is fine thread. So I'm going to wrap it 1, 2, 3, 4. Now you may have tried this knot in the past and not had success. The step that you're missing is this next one. You need to open your finger and thumb enough so that you can pull those thread wraps firmly between your finger and thumb. They need to not just touch the end of your skin, they need to be firmly bound between your finger and thumb. Continue to hold those wraps. Take the needle. Make sure you grab onto the thread so you don't pull your needle off at the end of this knot. There you go. What this is a French knot that's not hooked onto anything. It's fast, it's easy, it's an effective knot to make. Linda and I also sew with pearl cotton. We use Presencia's pearl cotton in both the size 12 and size 16. The knot that you make with this thread is similar, just a little bit different. I'm going to thread up with the size 12, and I'm going to use a size 9 Bowen crewel needle, and I'm going to use this needle threader to thread the needle. It's really easier than trying to thread the needle without it. To use this, put the wire in the needle threader through the eye of the needle, then put the thread through that wire. Pull it down to the end. Hold the wire when you pull this through. It's a very sturdy needle threader. It works. Now, This is also a very high quality thread, so it's not going to matter which end of the thread gets the knot. I'm holding the needle in my hand. I want to bring the thread up and let the thread cross the needle, again leaving about 3/8 of an inch thread for the tail. I think this knot in particular works better if you're sure that the tail points up. With the knot I showed you just a minute ago, if you start with the tail pointing down, it really doesn't matter. But this one it does. Point the tail of thread up. You're going to put one wrap around the needle. One only. Open your fingers up, pull that one wrap between your finger and thumb, pull the needle. It's a simple knot, it's effective, and it works. And even with the size 16 thread, one wrap is sufficient. I hope you find this helpful. Happy stitching!